Hassan, I'll give you a thumbs up so you can start. Okay. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. Mu'minin, Mu'minat, dear viewers of BQ your channel, we are here on Thursday evening, and today's Majlis is for the Isa of Marhuma Surah Begum binte Zahiruddin. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the Marhuma. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. I would like to turn over to Brother Hassan Haider, who will proceed with the recitation of Surah Yasin. Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إن جعلنا في عناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إن نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم ولا يمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بالضر لتغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني ذل في ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخلوا الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع الذين مهدرون وآيات لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنة من نخيل وعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآيات لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر والليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآيات لهم أن حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشاء نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا نطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعامه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذوهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مركدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع الذين مهدرون فاليوم لا تظلموا نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد ضل منكم جبلا كثيرا فلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخنهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وَذَلَّلْنَاهَا لَهُمْ فَمِنْهَا رَكُوبُهُمْ وَمِنْهَا يَأْكُلُونَ وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا مَنَافِعُ وَمَشَارِبُ فَلَا يَشْكُرُونَ وَاتَّخَذُوا مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ آلِهَةً لَعَلَّهُمْ يَنْصَرُونَ لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إن نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي ينشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقدر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you Hassan and also and the sawab of this recitation of the Ayah Karima of the Holy Quran to Marhuma Shahnaz Begum bint Zahiruddin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. With that, I would like to request Brother Zaki Sadiq to please come and say a few words about the Marhuma. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Zaki, you may unmute and turn on your video and one. Zaki Sadiq, please. Dr. Saab, we can see you, we can hear you.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. No, he's on.
You're good, Zaki.
He has his mind is not coming out correctly.
Yeah, Dad, you're on. Oh, here we go. Okay. I want to just discuss a brief, topic of Anna or Shahnaz Auntie. Shahnaz Auntie had really raised Aziz and I. And as like as I was just saying to Fatma Auntie yesterday, she's the reason that English is not my first language. But we were all discussing ever since the janazah how selfless Anna was, and she didn't ask for anything. The only thing that she asked for was the company of those around her. She was an incredible cook, and when she was in the hospital, I was every night when I was there with her, I would ask her. I said, Anna, what do you want me to bring you for food? And she said, just bring me soup. Bring me soup. Thora pani dal, that's it. Garam karo, and then just bring it to me. And so I when I was making it, I thought, this is the exact opposite of the food that she cooks. This is so simple. And so I said, is she gonna like this? And I was almost embarrassed. And so when I brought it to her, I gave it to her, and I was standing there, and I said, I really hope she likes this. I really hope she likes this. I could see her that, she was losing weight, and she wanted some good food. So She ate the soup, and the entire time she said, "Bahut maza ki hai, bahut maza ki hai." And she says, I love this because you brought it for me. She asked for nothing. And she was happy with such little. I hope to have that kind of humility that she had. I'd be thankful if I had just an ounce of it. Fatiha.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد
Uncle, would you like?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك الإثم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تخطئ الرجاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبت وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن تؤذيني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بخصمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وانزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك اللهم لا أجد للذنوب غافرا ولا لخبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي الخبيث بالحسن مبدلا غيرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى خديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاده من البلاء قلته
وكم من إثار بقيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وخسرت بي أعمالي وحبسني عن نفعي بؤد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفزهني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رعوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ذري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أهترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أخوى وأسأده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحمد ولي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني مكرك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي مؤتزرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا مؤترفا لا أجد مفر مما كان مني ولا مفزع نتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ذري وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عزمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي حبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف بالركاب. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهجا به وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهجا به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آويت أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه قدت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى زمائر رهبت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعة وشارت باستغفارك مذعنة ما هكذا ذنوبك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنك يا كريم يا رب وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسوه يسير بقاؤه قصير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي يا سيدي، فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولمن منها زج، وأبكي لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته. فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فحبني يا إلهي وسيدي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك. أم كيف أسكن في النار برجائي يفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأزجن إليك بين أهلها زجيج العاملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكينك عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية أعمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. فتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يزج إليك زجيجا مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يفرحه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوت وترى مكانا؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفها؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تسجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين يخطو لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، فجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأ من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواره وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رزقي يا من بيده ناسيتي يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي يا قبيلا بفخري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وخصك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جواره واشدد على العزيمة جمانه وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في الباردين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك ذنوب المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعتف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقلني أسرتي واغفر ذلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وزمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاؤه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Please, Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, brothers and sisters, recite the Surah Fatiha for the Isal Sawab of Shehnaz Begum bint Zahiruddin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Siratal mustaqim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Bismillah. Qul huwallahu ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad. Bismillah. Qul huwallahu ahad. Please also recite a Surah Fatiha for tamam Jamza Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, all our relatives, our friends, and our acquaintances who have passed away from this world. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Qul huwallahu ahad. Qul huwallahu ahad. Qul huwallahu ahad. So that's go ahead. Abdul.
Ustaz Uncle, please unmute yourself and you can start the recitation. Bismillah, Ustaz Uncle. Just your audio and then we can start. Bismillah.
صلوات بھیجیں اللہم
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل
فرد اعمال میں بس اشک ہمارے ہوں گے فرد اعمال میں بس اشک ہمارے ہوں گے حشر کے دن یہی بخشش کے سہارے ہوں گے فرد اعمال میں بس اشک ہمارے ہوں گے حشر کے دن یہی بخشش کے سہارے ہوں گے وہ قبر میں چین سے سوئیں گے اذاندار حسین قبر میں چین سے سوئیں گے اذاندار حسین آنکھ کھولیں گے تو کوثر کے کنارے ہوں گے تو قافلہ خلد کی جانب جو بڑھیں گا اپنا قافلہ خلد کی جانب جو بڑھیں گا اپنا رہبر حضرت عباس ہمارے ہوں گے اور اہل ماتم کو بھلا روک سکے گا کوئی، اہل ماتم کو بھلا روک سکے گا کوئی، باب جنت کے جو زہرا کے دلارے ہوں گے، اور کن تمناؤں سے 18 برس زینب نے، کن تمناؤں سے 18 برس زینب نے، کیسے دن زیست کے لیلا نے گزارے ہوں گے، اور اس کو ایک ماں ہی سمجھ سکتی ہے بعد اکبر، اس کو ایک ماں ہی سمجھ سکتی ہے بعد اکبر، کیسے دن زیست کے لیلا نے گزارے ہوں گے، اور دل کا کیا حال ہوا ہوگا علی اکبر جب، اور دل کا کیا حال ہوا ہوگا علی اکبر جب، لے کے مرنے کی روارن کو سدھارے ہوں گے، اور رولو آج ہاتھوں سے سر پیٹ کے اصغر کو رباب، اور رولو آج ہاتھوں سے سر پیٹ کے اصغر کو رباب، کل کو رسی سے بندھے ہاتھ تمہارے ہوں گے، وہ فرد اعمال میں بس اشک ہمارے ہوں گے، حشر کے دن یہی بخشش کے سہارے ہوں گے، صلوات بھیجیں۔
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل Jazakallah khair. Now I request Secretary General to please recite Marcia. Bismillah. Bismillah.
بآواز بلند سلوات۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
4 مصرے پیش خدمت ہے۔ پیوند ہمیں خاک کا ہونا ہوگا، پیوند ہمیں خاک
खाक का होना होगा। तन तन हालहद में सोना होगा। तन तन्हा लहद में सोना होगा। इस कब्र के पर्दे का खुला हाल दबी जो ओढ़ना होगा वो बिछौना होगा। पैबंद हमें खाक का। सलाम के चंद शेर पेश करता हूँ जनाब प्याम आजमी साहब का है। उर्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। खुल्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। करबला की खाक थोड़ी सी उठा ले जाएंगे। करबला की खाक थोड़ी सी उठा ले जाएंगे। खुल्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। गुमराही का गम नहीं मैदान महशर में हमें मांग कर ज़हरा से जन्नत का पता ले जाएंगे। मांग कर ज़हरा से जन्नत का पता ले जाएंगे। खुल्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। आखिरत के रास्ते का हमको कोई डर नहीं। थाम कर हाथों को खुद मुश्किल कुशा ले जाएंगे। खुल्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। कब्र में खाके शफा हर दर्द गम का है इलाज। छोड़ देंगे हर दवा ये दवा ले जाएंगे। छोड़ देंगे हर दवा ये दवा ले जाएंगे। खुल्द में सौगात ये अहले अज़ा ले जाएंगे। क्या खबर थी हुर की किस्मत इस कदर बेदार है। مر کے رومال جنا بے سیدہ لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ اہل عزا لے جائیں گے کانپ اٹھے گالا شے عباس دری یا پر ضرور چھین کر ظالم جو زینب سے ردا لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ اہل عزا لے جائیں گے سید سجاد کا کیا حال ہوگا اس گھڑی آئے جب بچی کے گوہر اشقیا لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ اہل عزا لے جائیں گے شب کے سناٹے میں جس ماں کا جنازہ تھا اٹھا اس کی بیٹی کو ستم گر بے ردا لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ اہل عزا لے جائیں گے آنسوؤں کے چند قطرے اپنی دولت ہیں پیام ہم کو لوٹیں گے اگر ظالم تو کیا لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ اہل عزا لے جائیں گے کربلا کی خاک تھوڑی سی اٹھا لے جائیں گے خلد میں سوغات یہ فاتحہ
اللهم صل على محمد الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين صراط المستقيم
جب خلق سے وقت سفر فاطمہ آیا تب زینب و شبیر کو پاس نے بلایا روئی بہت اور بیٹے کو چھاتی سے لگا یا زینب کے دیا ہاتھ میں ہاتھ اور یہ سنا یا زینب کے دیا ہاتھ میں ہاتھ اور یہ سنا یا زینب بے کس میری دولت سے خبر دار محبوب الہی کی امانت سے خبر دار محبوب الہی کی امانت سے خبر دار اے دلی اسلال کا دشمن ہے زمانہ شبیر کو میری نظر بد سے بچانا نہ تکلیف بھی سہ لیجیے ایزا بھی اٹھا نہ صدقے گئی مادر کی وصیت نہ بھلا نہ صدقے گئی مادر کی وصیت نہ بھلانا ہر رنج میں اس بھائی کے کام آئی ہو زینب جائے یہ جدھر ساتھ چلی جائی ہو زینب جائے یہ جدھر ساتھ چلی جائی ہو زینب پھر روئی بہت مل کے گلے بیٹوں سے زہرا فرمایا تمہیں دولہا بنے آہ نہ دے کافزا سے کہا قبر نبی پر انہیں لے جا روئے نہ میرے سامنے یہ ان کو تو بہلا روئے نہ میرے سامنے یہ ان کو تو بہلائے فضا کبیرن انہیں ہونے نہ دے نہ پیاروں کو میرے مردے پہ بھی رونے نہ دے نہ پیاروں کو میرے مردے پہ بھی رونے نہ دے نہ یہ کہہ کے کیا بند درے حجرہ ہر سب خرد و کلاں رونے لگے آن کے باہر آواز سنی کلمہ طیب کی مکرر پھر کچھ نہ صدا آئی کہا سب نے یہ رو کر پھر کچھ نہ صدا آئی کہا سب نے یہ رو کر لو اٹھ گئی دنیا سے نشانی بھی نبی کی رحلت ہوئی بس آج رسول مدنی کی رحلت ہوئی بس آج رسول مدنی کی سر کھول دیے لونڈیوں نے منہ پملی خاکیوں تر پی زمیں پر کے لرزنے لگے افلاک رونے لگی فردوس میں روح چہلو لا کلثوم نے ننا سا گریبان کیا چا کلثوم نے ننا سا گریبان کیا کیا میں کیا کہوں کیا زینب مستر کی صدا تھی ہے میری مادر کی صدا تھی ہے میری مادر کی صدا تھی القصہ کے دن ماتم زہرا ہی میں گزرا شب آئی کھلے گے سوؤں سے دینے کو پر ساہدر نے کیا غسل کا سامان مہیا معصوم کے ایک ہاتھ پا درا جو لگا تھا معصوم کے ایک ہاتھ پا درا جو لگا تھا وہ دست بطولہ خمیدہ نظر या ये देखते ही मुंह को अली का जिगरा, या ये देखते ही मुंह को अली का जिगरा, या नहला के जो कफनाने लगे मैयत ज़हरा, ज़ैनब ने ये की अर्ज़ हुजूरे शहवाला, अम्मा का मेरी हाथ तो सीधा करो बा वो रो के पुकारे ये खमीदा ही रहेगा, वो रो के पुकारे ये खमीदा ही रहेगा, ताबूत में फिर मैयत ज़हरा को लेटा कर सबसे कह लो बीबियो रुखसत करो कर, सबसे कह लो बीबियो रुखसत करो कर, जब खल्क से वक्त
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله زين.
بر محمد وعلى محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل.
حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اما، حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اما، صدائے دیتا ہے کب سے تیرا پسر اما، حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اما، وہ دیکھو زینب و کلثوم رو رہی ہے وہاں، تڑپ کے بھیا حسن کر رہے ہیں آہو فغاں، نہ جاؤ ایسے بھرے گھر کو چھوڑ کر اما، حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اما، کیوں ہم سے روٹھ کے جاتی ہو اس طرح بولو، میں تم کو جانے نہیں دوں گا آنکھ تو کھولو، نہیں تمہارے بنا عمر کا بسر اما، حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اما، یہ کیسا دور ہمیں وقت نے ہے دکھلایا، ساروں سے اٹھ گیا بچپن میں آپ کا سایہ کٹے گا کیسے تیرے بعد یہ سفر اماں حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اماں میں تم کو کب سے بلاتا ہوں کیوں نہیں اٹھتی صدائیں دیتا ہوں رو رو کے بولتی ہی نہیں خدا را بولو کہ پھٹتا ہے اب جگر اماں حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اماں شہید ہو گیا محسن جلایا گھر اماں تمہارا پہلو ہے زخمی گرایا در اماں جنا میں دینا یہ نانا کو سب خبر اماں حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اماں تمہارے بعد مزہ کچھ نہیں ہے جینے کا ہے سوگوار ہر ایک بامو در مدینے کا مجھے بھی لے چلو جاتی ہو تم جدھر اماں حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر اماں صدائیں دیتا ہے کب سے تیرا پسر اماں حسین آیا ہے دیکھو تو ایک نظر
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد جزاك الله Zain bhai. I would like to now request Maulana Sayyid Rizwan Rizvi to please come and recite the speech for the Majlis. Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
رحم اللہ من قرأ سورة الفاتحة بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم Requester, please recite a Surah Fatiha for Marhuma Shahnaz Begum Binte Zahiruddin. Surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وبالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
The Risala Sawab Majlis, which is being conducted for the Thawab of Marhuma Shanaz Begum Binte Zahiruddin. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate the status of Marhuma, give her a place in the Jivar of Masumeen alayhim as-salatu was-salam. And on the same note, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give sabr to the bereaved family for the loss that they have suffered. From what I was been able to gather about Marhuma, she was a very wonderful lady, a loving person. Of course, aside from her personal ibadat and wajibat, which she was very, very punctual about her Soyem and Salat. But at the same time, she touched so many lives. In the last couple of days of the people that I have spoken to, from the time of the ghusl which was being done to the janaza that took place and the burial, it seemed there were many families that were her family, that she came here in North America almost half a century ago, 50 years ago probably, and she helped many families who are close to each other raise their children and help them in raising the children, which is one of the most difficult of the tasks. As we become parents, we realize the easy part was becoming the parent. The difficult task is to be able to raise the kids and to be able to provide proper upbringing and tarbiyat to the kids, because even the animals are able to raise the kids and to an extent give them some sort of discipline. But raising kids and to be able to discipline them and to be able to provide for their needs, to be able to take care of the things that they need, it's not an easy task. It's difficult. And this difficult task rests on the shoulders of a mother. While both mother and father have to bear the pain, but it seems like that initial moment in the lives of children, which is very, very critical, by the way, because a child cannot survive. When a child is grown up, they may be able to survive without the help of others. But in those initial years, they need someone to be with them all the time. And that is one of the most difficult times for their lives, for their times, for their well-being, and for their existence. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen a mother for this task. I recited this very famous ayat from Surah Luqman, chapter 31, ayat number 14, which I'm sure you've heard a great deal in the past in Majlis as well, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَحْنًا عَلَى وَحْنٍ, that we've enjoined or rather we have enjoined man. Wasayna, we have given wasiyat. Concerning what? Concerning his parents. And then right away you find the discussion was about parents. It shifts gear towards the mother. So we have enjoined man concerning his parents. His mother carried him through weakness upon weakness. And this is the usloob of Quran that we find is so amazing. That his mother carried him through weakness upon weakness, and his weaning takes 2 years. Give thanks to me and to your parents. To me is the return. And Marhuma was that motherly figure to many of those young men and women who are now all grown up, who call her to be their mother. So we find that there's a great deal that Islam has given us instructions when it comes to their rights upon us. And you don't need to look any further than the kalam of our fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam. Imam elaborates this concept so eloquently, while only mentioning the basic things. It's not philosophy that Imam is talking about over here, something which is very difficult for you to comprehend. Very simple, straightforward stuff that Imam mentions. But the depth in the kalam of Imam is something which you find amazing. He says, فَحَقُّ أُمِّكَ أَن تَعْلَمَ أَنَّهَا حَمَلَتْكَ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْمِلُ أَحَدٌ أَحَدًا. It's all about how you put things in words. A great orator might say same thing what I'm saying, but in more eloquent way that you'll be amazed by their speech. And that's what Masumin and their kalam is all. He said, the right of your mother is that you should know that she carried you where no one carries anyone. How true is this sentence? Well, very simple, very straightforward, but how much depth there is in this sentence. وَأَطْعَمَتْكَ مِنْ ثَمَرَةِ قَلْبِهَا مَا لَا يُطْعِمُ أَحَدٌ أَحَدًا. And she fed you with the fruit of her heart. She fed you with the fruit of her heart, that which no one feeds anyone. وَأَنَّهَا وَقَتْكَ بِسَمْعِهَا وَبَصَرِهَا وَيَدِهَا وَرِجْلَهَا وَشَعْرِهَا وَبَشَرِهَا وَجَمِيعِ جَوَارِحَا. And she protected you with her hearing, her eyesight, her hands, her legs, and her hair and her skin, and all of her organs. She protected you. She didn't care for any of these organs, as long as they were used to serve you. How could someone go to the extent that they're willing to use all of their organs all at once to protect? You know, that's why you call your country to be your motherland. And that's why those who go to the battlefield to protect their motherland, they protect it with all their might till the last breath. They're willing to give their eyes, their hands, their feet, their entire body, sacrifice it for their motherland. So there's a concept of mother over there as well. Then Imam continues, he said, Mustabshiratan bidhalika. This is where you see the difference in the kalam of Imam and kalam of Ghairi Imam. That, okay, I'm willing to do all of these things too. But Imam here mentions the psychological aspect of it. Mustabshiratan bidhalika farihatan mu'ammilatan muhtamilatan lima fihi makruhuha wa alamuha wa thiqluha wa ghammuha hatta dafa'atha anka yadul qudrati wa ukhrijat ila al-ardh. Imam mentioned all of those sacrifices that a mother makes, and then he says this, She was highly delighted to do so. While she was bearing all the pain, she was doing all the sacrifices. She's willing to put everything up for grab. Was she really sick and tired of doing all of this? She said, no, deep down inside, God has created her in a way that she was highly delighted to do so. She was happy and she was eager, enduring the harm and the pains and the heaviness and the grief until the mighty hand expelled you out of her and delivered you to the earth. Reminds me of a story of a person. He came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said to him that, "Oh Rasulullah, I take care of my mother. I provide for her. I've even taken her for, on my back for Hajj and Umrah and Ziyarat because she can't walk. I clothe her. I feed her with my own hand because she's too, so old that she can't eat by herself. Have I done and paid my dues to her?" And Rasulullah responds by saying, not even for that one instance that she carried you in her womb. Not even for that one instance. And then he responds as to how. She provided for me, she carried me, she clothed me, she did all of those things when I was little, and now I'm returning the favor and doing all of those things actually in a better way with better resources that I have that she didn't have. Rasulullah responded by saying, and this is where the difference lies, mustabshiratan bidhalika farihatan mu'ammilatan muhtamilatan. She was highly delighted to do so. She was happy and eager, enduring the harms and the pains. But the issue with you is that you're not highly delighted when you are taking care of her like this. You're not enthusiastic and eager on doing this. While she was counting and praying for your long life, you might be thinking, how long is this going to last? When will this end? You have in your mind an ending day and an expiry on it. Well, when the mother was taking care, she wasn't thinking that way. She was making dua for tul umr. So she gets an opportunity to serve you like this. فَرَضِيَتْ أَن تَشْبَعَ وَتَجُوعَ هِيَ وَتَكْسُوَكَ وَتَعْرَى وَتُرْوِيَكَ وَتَظْمَى. She did not care if she went hungry as long as you ate. And this could be resonated with this marhuma as well, all of those kids that she helped in raising. That she did not care if she went hungry as long as you ate. If she did not have proper clothing as long as you were clothed. That she was thirsty as long as your thirst was quenched. And as long as, you were in shade, she kept herself in the open sun, for example. And if she was miserable as long as you were happy. And she was deprived of sleep as long as you were resting. This is something which I think all of the parents, newly become parents, could resonate a great deal. When a child, they don't have, the 24 hours as you and I do. They don't realize that night is the time for sleeping and the morning is the time for work and whatnot. They don't work on the same clock as you and I do. Child might decide to stay up all night. And the child will not remain up by themselves all night. Someone will be taking care of the child. But mother is someone, even if she was deprived of sleeping, as long as you were resting, she's willing to give everything. وَكَانَ بَطْنُهَا لَكَ وِعَاءً وَحُجْرُهَا لَكَ حِوَاءً. And her abdomen was your abode. And her lap was your seat. And the fruit of her heart was your supply of drink. Her soul was your fort. She protected you from the heat and the cold of this world. And then Imam concludes this in Risalatul Huquq. You can find it in the Rights of the Mother and Treatise on Rights. فتشكرها على قدر ذلك ولا تقدر عليه إلا بعون الله وتوفيقه. Then this is your duty. You should thank her for all of that. You will not be able to show her gratitude. So first Imam says, thank her for what she did to you. But then Imam contradicts his own sentence. But you will not be able to show gratitude to her. Why are you telling me to be thankful to her when you're saying that I will not be able to show gratitude? He said, well, you'll try your best. You will do what you can to show your gratefulness. But no matter how much gratefulness you show, it will always be less than what she did for you. Unless through God's help. وَلَا تَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا بِعَوْنِ اللَّهِ. Unless you see God's help in this regard. Ask for the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He grants you this tawfiq, that you're able to show thanks to her. This is the gist of, in fact, the entirety of Risalatul Huquq from our fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wassalam. What do we get out of this? The meaning of Imam as mentions in this. The word in Arabic, that is used for mother, really means the root and foundation for something. It is so widely used to mean mother, though, that we don't think of anything else when we hear the word although this word is used for Qura, this mother of all the cities, Quran. The surahs such as Surah Fatiha is called Quran, and many other words are used with the word The use of the word in Quran is also found where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks to the mother of Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَى أَنْ أَرْضِعِيهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي إِنَّ رَادُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. We reveal to Musa's mother, saying to her, nurse him. And if you are fearful of him, of his life, of course, فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ, then put him in the chest or this basket and put him into the river. And don't be afraid. وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي, and don't be grieved. إِنَّ رَادُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ, we will return him back to you. And not only that, we'll return him back to you, وَجَعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, and we will make him amongst whom? Amongst those who are the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's one place where the word is used for actual meaning of itself, which is the mother. Another place where the word is used in the meaning of root and foundation, in metaphoric sense, not in the literal sense. So in this ayat which I recited, for the mother of Hazrat Musa, it is used in its literal sense, but it's also used in other meanings as well. For example, when it says in Surah Al-Imran, ayat number 7, هُوَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ مِنْهُ آيَاتٌ مُحْكَمَاتٌ هُنَّ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ وَأُخَرُ مُتَشَابِهَاتٌ. It is He who has sent down to you the book. Parts of it are definitive verses, which are the mother of the book. So those ayat of Quran which are muhkam, which are clear, which are concrete, such as Surah Fatiha, for example, such as Surah Qul Huwallah, for example, considered to be Ummul Kitab, they're considered to be the mother of the book, while others are mutashabihat, metaphorical. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the word not so much in its sense of mother, rather in the meaning of root and foundation, because these ayat of Quran, Surah Fatiha and other, these are not the mother of the book in the literal sense, rather they are what? They are the foundation of this Quran. That if you want to derive anything, you use this foundation, and the others which you don't understand, may be ambiguous to you, are mutashabih. The third use of the word in Quran refers to the something which is central. And so a lot of time when you have downtown place which is considered to be the center of the city, whether it's on one side of the city, regardless, but it's considered center of the city. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses in that meaning as well. Surah Shura, verse number 7, it says, لِتُنذِرَ أُمَّ الْقُرَى وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا. You may warn the people of the mother of the towns and those around it. So here it is used and referred as, the word is referring to someone who's central. See what all of these meanings could actually apply to mother. Musa, the word refers to mother. That's straightforward. Quran, foundation and the root. Your mother is your foundation and is your root as well. And Qura over here, meaning that it is central. And I'll give you an example. You remember the story of Hadith Kisa? When Rasulullah was feeling sick in the house of Bibi Fatima, Imam Hassan comes, Imam Hussein comes, Amir al-Mu'mineen come. And then when they all have arrived, Janab Sayyidah comes. And they all gather under this hadith, this kisa, this cloak. Jibreel Amin asks, not for his lack of knowledge, rather so that he can explain from the tongue of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who these people are. That man taht al-kisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to the question of Jibreel Amin, hum Fatimatu wa abuha wa ba'luha wa banuha. That this is Fatima, that's her father, that's her husband, and those are her kids. So Fatima becomes that centralized point. Gathered around her are who? Father of Fatima, husband of Fatima, and sons of Fatima. By the way, all of whom, one is Khatimul Anbiya, second one is Amirul Mu'mineen, and the third ones are Sayyida Shawabi Ahlul Jannah. But Fatmatul Zahra is given that centralized position in that Hadith Kisa when it is being referred. Another point that I want to leave you with, which you can think, because Quran is not a book for us to just, read on special occasions and not ponder over. The month of Ramadan is coming, I have to read Quran, and I have to finish this many Qurans, for example. There's a race going on. Good, you read Quran, but also ponder over this. I'll leave you one thing. See, all of these 3 ayat that I quoted for you. One regarding the mother of Hazrat Musa, Musa. Second about Ummul Kitab, mother of the book. And third about Ummul Qura, the mother of the towns. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I mentioned the ayat number for all 3. First ayat is from Surah Qasas, chapter 28, ayat number 7. Second is from Surah Al Imran, chapter 3, ayat number 7. And third is from Surah Shura, chapter 42, ayat number 7. Go figure out, think about it, ponder over this, the fact that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, notice that how all 3 verses are number 7 in Quran, in these various chapters. So considering the various meanings mentioned, one can better understand the importance of the rights of the mother. Mothers, they suffer and they pain. Now that we have reviewed the meanings of the word in Arabic, look at the various points that Imam Zainul Abidin has expressed regarding the rights of the mother. Imam starts his discussion with the time of pregnancy and describe how a mother suffers the hardship of the period of pregnancy and pains of labor. This is the type of hardship that no one else is ready to suffer for our sake. This point is clearly stressed out in Quran as well. The ayat which I had initially recited for you, that وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ كُرْهًا. The ayat that I recited was from Surah Luqman. This is the similar ayat in another chapter, Surah Ahqaf. It said, we have enjoined man to be kind to his parents. In pain did his mother bear him, and in pain did she give him birth. The carrying of the child and his weaning, a period of 30 months. When he comes of age and reaches 40 years of age, he says, my Lord, inspire me to give thanks for your blessings with which you have blessed me and my parents. The entire life of, and I'm sure a lot of the kids who she did not give birth to, but she raised them as mothers. Now they're well in their 40s or even more than that. Now you look back at this ayah, the way this marhuma took care of you. My Lord, inspire me to give thanks for your blessings with which you have blessed me and my parents. And then, of course, the ayat of Quran that I recited. Both verses end with what? The concept of thankfulness. Over in the previous ayat that I said, Anishkurli wali walidayka ilayka al-masir. And in this one as well, Anushkur ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya. That I should be thankful to the blessings. So both of these verses are ending with the concept of gratitude and being thankful toward this blessing of parents that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. So the period of pregnancy, the period of feeding, and the mother's share in the development of the child. All three are being mentioned here. In the verse cited above, we were instructed to be kind to both our parents. Which of the parents has the greater share in the development of the child? Quran has given us a greater share to the mother due to her efforts and role during the period of pregnancy and post-pregnancy when she's feeding. Although both parents have equal share in the development of the child and the physicality of the child, but however, mother is the one who gives and provides and feeds the fetus in a while before the child is born and carries the baby until she delivers, that she has a greater share in the development of the baby. And this is very phenomenal concept which mentioned by, I believe, Atul Jawadi Amali. He said mother is the manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayatul Qarati said that actually in his Tafsir al-Quran, Tafsir al-Nur. He said mother is the manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's mazhare sifat khudawand muta'al. Wow, how is that possible? Why? Allah is Khaliq. He's the creator, right? Allah khaliqu samawati wal ard. He's the creator of everything. And he's the creator of human being. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ. Indeed, we have created insan. Allah is Khaliq, but he creates us and he delivers us through mother. So the sifat of Allah, which is Khaliqiyat, is being manifested through a mother. Second sifat of Allah is Raziqiyat, that he's the sustainer, the one who gives us the sustenance, right? He provides for us. So the sifat of Allah to provide and to do rizq, he's Razzaq and he's Raziq. But the manifestation of the Raziqiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through the mother. When a child when he comes into this world, Allah has already taken care of the food for this child. Allah is the one who gives the rizq, but he gives through the mother. Here, every mother, doesn't matter if this mother is Bibi Maryam salamullah alayha, Janab Fatimatul Zahra salamullah alayha, or any other mother for that matter. Doesn't matter. Every mother is this mazhar of the raziqiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a mother is being used as the manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and nobody can deny this concept, then how do you refuse the concept of ma'sumin providing, of course, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we ask through them? When we ask for wus'at rizq through Aimai Athar, of course, doing tawassul to them, asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should not have any doubts. Why? Because every mother is the mazhar and the manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And lastly, so you have khaliqiyat of Allah, creates through a mother. You have the raziqiyat of Allah, gives rizq through the mother. You have the rububiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is Rabbul Alameen. What is the meaning of the word Rabb? Rabb is the one who does your tarbiyat, provides for you, nurtures you, nourishes you, rears you, upbringing. That's what the word Rabb means. Allah is Rabb. The rububiyat is with Allah. But the mazhar and the manifestation of the sifat of rububiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through mother. Because she's the one who's doing this. She's the one who's murabbi. She's the one who's doing this initial tarbiyat. So don't underestimate the status that how she is the manifestation of the sifat of Allah, of khaliqiyat, raziqiyat, and as well as the rububiyyat. Though there are a lot of effects of a mother who's at full service of the child. All of the mother's time is spent caring for the child from the moment it is born. Even a moment of neglect of the child by the mother could result in the very bad outcome. So we trust mothers with this delicate child. The day and night caring for the child by the mother deprives of her own necessary rest that she needs for herself, for her to continue. However, the natural love that Allah has made and instilled in the heart of the mother child, it makes it all bearable for her. That natural love for the child makes it all bearable. She's willing to go through all the difficulties because of this natural love that God has instilled in her heart. This has been expressed by Imam Zainul Abidin والسلام, that she was highly delighted to do so. So there's a sacrifice that she's making for you. A mother prefers the life of the child over her own. Even at times, some mothers will sacrifice their own lives to save their babies. A mother can stand hardships, but cannot stand her baby cry. But then we find some extremely worthy characters in Karbala. I'm not coming towards Masaib yet. That Wahabi Kalbi, his mother and the courage of the mother. While a mother cannot withstand the baby cry and she wants to do anything possible to make the baby silent by providing for her, for example. There are kids in Karbala as young as 6 months old, and there are many other babies in Karbala. And there's no water and there's no food for 3 days. Right now, you're sitting at home listening to this majlis of this marhuma, and inshallah, we go through this pandemic quickly and we come back to our masajid and our imam bargas to have live programs in the presence of people, inshallah, without any fear. But when you come to, up until last year, during Muharram, when you came to the first Ashra, mothers would bring their young children. This is something which we are taught to bring them, regardless of what they do, bring them to the Majalis. But when you bring them to the Majlis Azah, you bring what they would need over there. You can't bring the entire house with you, but you bring a baby bag where there are things which would, cheer the child in case, for example, they weren't feeling, themselves. If they're thirsty, you give them water. If they're hungry, you give them milk. Or you bring their toys along so that you can, give it to them while you're paying attention to the majlis which is being conducted. But you look at Karbala, 3 days and there's no water, there's no food. Just imagine, God, how these women went through these. And even from the 2nd of Muharram, when they were in the lands and the plains of Karbala, it wasn't like they were in a place where a lot of things were available from them. They were in a desert, resting in tents, in abundance heat. As it is, it's very difficult for them. And then last 3 days, they don't even have any food or drink. When the child is crying, when Ali Asghar was crying, when other babies were crying, what would the mothers be doing? They can't feed them. They can't provide water to them. They don't have toys to give to these babies so that they would. Just imagine the difficulty and the amount of difficulty they went through. And that's when your child is that young. But when your child is all grown up, Wahabi Kalbi, who goes to the battlefield, he gets killed, he's martyred. The enemy throws the head back toward the tents. This mother and the newly wedded wife is seeing this, but the courage of the mother throws the head back towards the enemy. He said, what we have given in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't want it back. I just salute these mothers, that how a mother can stand hardships, but she cannot stand to hear the baby cry. But then you see these exceptions that you find in Karbala. Imam Sajjad says she did not care if she went hungry as long as you ate, if she didn't have proper clothing as long as you were clothed. A mother loves her baby in two forms. One form is the sense of the maternal love, like not being able to stand a baby cry and make sure that you take care of them as soon as they're crying. However, she also has this intellectual love for the child, that she takes him, if the baby is hurting or harmed, takes him to the doctor when he gets ill, for example. She's willing to go through the difficulty which might cause the child to bleed. She will cry but withstand the operation until the child is cured. Why? If asked why, she would say, well, she prefers little damage done to the child to receive the great benefit of becoming healthy once again. I'm willing to go through all the difficulties just so that I can see that the child is back on his feet again, so that he's all cured again. No wonder it's a good segue into this, that heaven is under the mother's feet. This position of the mother is so lofty that Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has advised us that in order to go to heaven, we must serve our mothers. And how unlucky are those who had this opportunity, but they were not able to avail it. Still, there's so many. Take heed. If your mothers are still alive, make sure that you serve them, because serving them could avert so many difficulties of this life and definitely difficulties of the hereafter. Prophet said, Al-Jannatu tahta aqdamil ummahat. Heaven lies under the feet of mothers. A person came. He said, Ya Rasulullah, man abar? Who should I be, good to and do kind to? He said, Ummuka. And 3 times Rasulullah repeated the word Ummuka. And then on the 4th occasion, he said, Abaka, your father. We can see that our mothers have a greater right incumbent upon us. You can say that mother's share is 3 times that of the father's based on this tradition. Even the father pays for the expenses of the child, and sometimes mothers are also contributing towards that. But the mother has a greater role in the period of the beginning portion of the life's childhood and the childhood of the person who's growing up. So serve the mother as much as you can, because when it comes to serving them, the concept which is part of furu'edin is overlooked. So if you were to count furu'edin, you say namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, khums, jihad. It says serve your mother or go to jihad. Young man went to see Rasulullah along with his mother. He wanted to go to the battlefield, but his mother would not let him do so because he was the only child. The Prophet said, Inda ummika qir wa inna laka min al-ajri indaha mithla ma laka fil jihad. Be at the service of your mother, since it is not any less of a service than going to a war front. Just imagine that. Going to war front, which is an obligation, wajib, just like namaz is wajib, roza, hajj, zakat, khums, jihad is also wajib. So no, when you remain at service, it is as if you are performing jihad in the battlefield. And then he counts, he said, 3 things: as-salatu ala waqtiha, bir bil walidain, wal jihad fi sabilillah. That make sure that you pray on time, that you're kind to your parents, and you do struggle in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So can we only be kind to them? Now those whom this marhuma Shahnaz Begum bint Zahiruddin, she served as a mother. They might be questioning, she's no longer alive. Can we only be kind to them when they're alive, or is there something that we can do even after their death? Prophet says, Sayyidul Abrar, Yawm al-Qiyamati rajulun barra walidayh ba'da fawtihima. the best and the Sayyid and the master and the leaders of those who are righteous on the day of judgment is a person who is kind to his parents after their death. There's so many things that you can do on their behalf. Some, of course, are obligatory, but many things are recommended. In Karbala, a father was martyred. The son of that person got up to help Imam Hussein. Imam said to him, turn back. Your mother just witnessed her husband die. She may not be able to bear the loss of you as well if you went to the battlefield. The young man replied, oh Imam, my mother is the one who sent me to go to the battlefield. This person was Janada ibn al-Haris al-Salmani. He said, my mother is the one who's telling me go. I'm not coming without her permission. So therefore I salute these mothers that we find in Karbala. And there was a mother who was not there in Karbala. When Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi he found himself to be alone. At this moment when he bids farewell to all the ladies that he has brought with him. He remembers the time when in battlefield with his father Amir al-Mu'mineen, that Imam alayhi provided, or when Amir al-Mu'mineen was hurt, Imam took care of the wound of his father. Imam Ali looked at his son Imam Hussein and he said, how grateful is your father that his son is able to service him. But oh Hussein, when you will be wounded, even though your son will be there, you will not be able to receive the same treatment. And the time came that when Imam Hussein was leaving, Janab Zainab comes to Imam Hussein and she says, oh my brother, let me kiss you on your neck. And she kisses him on the neck. And Imam Hussein asks that, oh Zainab, this is an act which I've never seen from you before. She says, I'm only fulfilling the wasiyat of our mother, Fatima Zahra. She said that she won't be here when my Hussein falls to the ground. Make sure that you kiss him on his neck on my behalf. Some riwayat mentioned that after she kissed Imam Hussein on the neck, Imam Hussein said to Zainab, oh Zainab, let me kiss you on your head. And Imam Hussein kissed Bibi Zainab on her head. She said, oh my brother, why is it that you're kissing me on my head? You're responding in a way that you've never responded before. She says, because pretty soon after I leave, they will come and they'll snatch your veils and your chadar. And a lady Zainab who's never stepped out of her house without a veil, that too whenever she would go for the ziyarat of Janab Sayyidah, she would go at night between Amir al-Mu'mineen and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein on her side at the night time in darkness to go pay a visit to her mother at the grave in Madinatul Munawwara. Zainab cannot comprehend the fact that very soon her chadar will be taken away. And therefore Imam Hussein is kissing her on her head. How do you salute these mothers of Karbala? Whenever we are traveling, our mothers make dua for us. They give sadaqah on our behalf. They put Imam Zamin on our hands. And they continue to pray throughout our journeys until we are back safe and sound. But the mothers in Karbala, they're saying, oh my son, go to the battlefield, but do not come back alive. Look at Janab Zainab, the heart of a mother. Eventually she's a mother. And she sends her kids, Zaun and Muhammad, towards the battlefield. And she instructs them saying that, oh my children, that it is possible that the thirst may overcome you and you find yourself close to Furat, but let be known that don't drink from the Furat because your younger brothers and baby brothers and sisters are still thirsty. Ajrukum Allah, may Allah give you no grief and sorrow except the grief and sorrow of Ahlul Bayt. When Janab Zainab was sitting in the tent and the kids were on their way to the battlefield, Janab Fizza comes and tells, "Oh Zainab, your sons have taken command of Furat." Zainab raises her hand saying, "Oh Allah, give quwwat and taqat and strength to my kids so that they do not succumb to the thirst and drink from the Furat." She said they did not drink. They left Furat and they went to the battlefield. They performed their jihad. And eventually, when they performed the jihad, they succumbed to the wounds and they died and they were martyred. When their bodies were brought back, Janab Fizza comes and says, "Oh Zainab, Aun and Muhammad have come back." Janab Zainab says, "I did not send them to come back. Why have they come back?" Janab Fizza says, "Oh lady, come and look at them, in which condition they have come back. Kis हालत में वो लोग वापस आए हैं. अरे बीबी आके एक दफा देखो तो सही." ज़ैनब आके देखती है, दोनों बच्चे खून में गलता हैं. ज़ैनब हाथ बुलंद करती है, "अल्लाहुम्मा तक़ब्बल मिन्ना हाज़ल क़ुर्बान, इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि राजिऊन." बारहा हमारी इस बात कबूल फरमा, हम गुनाहगार हैं, हमारे गुनाहों से दरगुजर फरमा, हमें अहले बैत अलैहिस्सलाम के नक्श कदम चलने की तौफीक अता फरमा, हमें उनकी तालीमात पर अमल करने की तौफीक अता फरमा, हमारे इमाम के ज़ुहूर में ताजील फरमा, हमें उनके आवान अंसार में शुमार कर रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम। एक दफ़ा सूरह फातिहा और 3 दफ़ा सूरह इखलास की तिलावत करके मरहूमा शहनाज बेगम बिनते ज़हीरुद्दीन की रूह को इसाल कर दें। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह रब्बिल आलमीन।
Allah Jazakallah Maulana. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all with his mercy and also with the soul of this Majlis to Marhuma Shahnaz Begum bint Sayyidin. Now for the ziyarat. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا شمس السموس أنيس النفوس السلام عليك يا مغش الشهد والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك يا سلطان العرب والعجم، السلام عليك يا أبو الحسن علي بن موسى رضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب رسول الزمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام البلدان سيدي، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Closing comments. Momini Jazakallah, thank you so much for joining. Please do remember the marhuma in your prayers. Please also do remember all the marhumin of our community, and also do pray for the safety and health of all of our brothers and sisters.